Monumental buildings. Gigantic railway stations. And a digital command center that controls everything. Hundreds of thousands of figures, including even the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars.
It's just fantasy. We're in Wunderland.
I think being a bit crazy is a major job requirement for working in Wunderland. This is just amazing, isn't it?
A creative team that constantly thinks on a scale of 1 to 87. Hundreds of trains, hundreds of meters of track, and tinkerers, for whom no challenge is too great.
If you make a mistake at the beginning, it has an effect on the whole thing right down the line.
Millimeter-perfect precision under constant observation. Everything has to fit exactly, even when time is pressing. State-of-the-art technology that amazes thousands of visitors every year, and a constant stream of breathtaking ideas.
The worst it can do is go wrong.
Here, everything is possible. Today, the cleaning team has to go into the Alps. It's a good job there are hidden maintenance hatches throughout the entire complex. Nevertheless, Petra Atvi really has to stretch out while she's dusting. After all, even at a scale of 1 to 87, the mountains are still quite high. Just before 8. The first visitors have already arrived. It's the school holidays. Peak season at Miniatur Wunderland. Despite opening times from morning till midnight, the place is always busy all the time. Frederik Braun is ever present. He and his brother Gerrit founded Miniatur Wunderland in 2001. Meanwhile, they've had to introduce a new reservation system. Visitors book their tickets online in advance for a set time window. There's no other way to cope with the masses of people.
We dreamed of having 100 to 150,000 visitors a year. That's about 1,000 visitors a day during the main holiday period.
Currently, they're attracting much higher numbers. Today alone, we'll see around 5,000 people arriving. Miniatur Wunderland has long been one of the main attractions in Hamburg. Visitors don't only come from all over Germany, but increasingly from abroad as well.
Only about 10% come from Hamburg. I think 25 or 30% from 150 kilometers around the city. After 6 months, I got an email from someone in Tokyo asking if I was the guy with the model railway. He'd like to come and see it, and soon flew in from Tokyo.
More than 1 million people come to see Miniatur Wunderland every year. It's a great attraction for both young and old. The gigantic track network, the lovingly crafted landscapes, the elaborate buildings. Those coming here are given plenty to see. With a glittery, snowy landscape. Since 2007, Switzerland has also been part of the Miniatur Wunderland, with its imposing mountains. An especially popular feature here is an open-air concert by Swiss artist DJ Bobo. And in 2011, after almost 6 years of construction, Knuffingen Airport was finally opened. It's the only one of its kind in the world. More than 40 aircraft move around the airport site independently, with takeoffs and landings every minute. The entire facility, meanwhile, covers several floors of an historic warehouse building in Hamburg's Speicherstadt district. It consists of 9 interconnected country sections. Night falls every 15 minutes in Wunderland. And then over 330,000 LEDs bring light into the darkness. What was initially the mad idea of the two brothers Friedrich and Gerrit Braun has now become one of the main tourist attractions in Hamburg. Miniatur Wunderland offers its visitors an infinite number of photo opportunities. For the model makers, however, there's no time for playing. They've got to get to the construction site. Miniatur Wunderland is to continue expanding and is now having a further attraction added: Italy. At 90 square meters, it will be one of the largest sections so far, and one of the most elaborate. Most of Rome's buildings are already standing. Now it's time for the details. The builders carefully cut holes in the floor for the fountains that will soon be cascading here. To prepare for this, some of the model makers even traveled to Italy and returned with hundreds of photos and lots of ideas. Gaston Burkhardt was in Cinque Terre. The village of Rio Maggiore held a special appeal for him, so he's now immortalized it here, on a scale of 1:87.
We've only made references to the village because it looks different in reality. It's difficult to include something like that because I just have a bit of space here and a bit there. The important thing for us was the tunnel. That's original, and that's original too. Some of the houses are original and some are made up. You can't reproduce it all in such detail.
Countless meters of cable later, the job's finally done. St. Peter's Basilica is approaching completion. A masterpiece made of 22,000 individual parts, so it's hardly a lightweight. Nevertheless, the modelers have to operate with extreme care and attention. The slightest misjudgment now could have disastrous consequences.
The cables fit perfectly, they're not in the way of the tracks. That's great. The trains can get by. All good.
Design and construction took almost 2 years. Now, all that's missing are the cable connections underneath the model. Down here, there are hundreds of cables and wires. But even so, technician Kenneth Mundel knows his way around this cable jungle perfectly.
Here we have, I don't know, around 300 streetlights in the Rome section alone, but we don't switch them all on individually, of course. In the real world, too, each street is basically wired with 3 phases, and that's how we do it as well. And each phase has a slight delay from the moment it's switched on, and that creates quite a colorful picture when all the lamps light up one after the other. But we can bundle these cables together relatively easily, so it looks like less and less. We must have about 10 times as many cables lying around in here than we actually need for the switchable contacts.